10 of history's finest fathers. 1. Charlemagne. Charlemagne is known as the father of Europe. He was also an actual father. One of his children was Pepin the Hunchback. Charlemagne favored him over his other kids, but he chose his younger son as his successor. Pepin the Hunchback plotted to kill the emperor and his children. The plot was exposed, but Charlemagne showed fatherly mercy. Instead of executing his son, he banished Pepin to a monastery. 2. Mark Twain. Mark Twain and his wife Olivia were married for 34 years. They had 3 daughters. Twain was especially close with his oldest, Susie. She shared his love of writing and acting. After her death, Twain fell into deep depression. Becky Thatcher, from The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, was inspired by Susie. 3. William Jackson Smart. The man who inspired Father's Day was a single dad. His wife died while giving birth to their 6th child. She also had 3 kids from a previous marriage. Smart was left to raise 9 children on his own. He had 5 kids from his first marriage as well. His story became widely known. Smart's daughter made it her life's work to establish a day to honor him. Her initiative led to the first Father's Day celebration in 1910. 4. Cicero. The Roman scholar adored his daughter Tullia. She died of complications after giving birth to her son. Cicero isolated himself for several weeks. He studied texts by Greek philosophers on how to overcome grief. Cicero's second wife was not moved by her stepdaughter's death, so Cicero divorced her. 5. Charles Darwin. The father of evolutionary theory had 10 children himself. 2 of them died in infancy, but Darwin was a doting and caring father for the rest. Darwin's daughter said his attitude to his family was delightful. In 1851, his 10-year-old daughter Annie passed away. Some say that's when Darwin lost his religious faith. 6. Thomas More. More was Lord High Chancellor to Henry VIII of England. He had 4 kids and a stepdaughter. He gave all his children the same classical education. It was very unusual for girls in 16th century England. Thomas More didn't support the king's split from the Catholic Church. In 1535, he was beheaded for treason. Margaret Roper was his oldest daughter. She bribed the man who had to dispose of her father's head. He had to throw it into the Thames River. Roper arranged for his remains to be laid to rest in a chapel. In 1935, the Catholic Church made Thomas More a saint. 7. John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. Tolkien was a father of 3 sons and a daughter. He loved his kids and didn't want to miss out on family life, so he did much of his writing before the sun rose each day. The Hobbit grew out of bedtime stories. Tolkien came up with Adventures of Bilbo Baggins to entertain his kids. 8. Jim Henson. Henson was a father of 5, but his Muppets and the Sesame Street shows delighted many more kids. Henson's children all got involved in the family business. Brian and Lisa Henson are co-CEOs of the Jim Henson Company. Cheryl Henson is the president of the Jim Henson Foundation. It promotes puppetry in the U.S. 4 of Jim Henson's kids became puppet artists. 9. Vespasian. Vespasian was a 1st century Roman emperor. He was said to be witty and amiable. He had 2 sons, Titus and Domitian, and a daughter. Vespasian ensured that Titus would be a wise ruler. Reportedly, Vespasian's last words were,
"I must be turning into a god."
After his death, Titus ruled successfully for 2 years. Domitian was a ruthless but efficient autocrat. 10. Li Yanwen. Li Yanwen lived around 1500 in China. He was the father of Li Shizhong, a famous practitioner of medicine. Yanwen urged his son to take the civil service exams. He hoped it would win him a good position. Instead, his son chose to study medicine. Li Yanwen made a wise decision to support and mentor him. Shizhong went on to become China's greatest naturalist. He was also an acupuncturist and a pharmacologist. Li Shizhong wrote Ben Sao Gamu, an important work on Chinese medicine.